Mandy Rose reportedly makes a huge amount of money since her WWE release last week. Bronson Reed is back in WWE. We've got an update on his return to the company and his status with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Sasha Banks, speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, is headed to Wrestle Kingdom 17. But when is she flying out to Japan? The Raw ratings are in, and they're the best ratings for weeks as we head into this holiday season. A WWE NXT superstar's got a tattoo of the WWE logo on their chest. Big E gives an update on his return from a broken neck injury, and Eva Marie, is she the latest name to return to WWE? Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of WWE, and let's start off talking about Mandy Rose. Of course, the world is still talking about Mandy Rose, her departure from WWE, and she may no longer be collecting a paycheck from her previous employer, that being WWE, following her recent release. But given the income she's generating from her fan time account, which was at the heart of her WWE exit, the former NXT Women's Champion has no reason to worry about covering her bills. According to TMZ Sports, Rose has taken in $500,000. Let me repeat that once again. $500,000 in just the 7 days since being given her walking papers solely from the content that she posts on FanTime, a subscription-based platform similar to OnlyFans. Rose's agent, Malky Kawa, predicted that the 32-year-old wrestler could become a millionaire by Christmas. Of course, that just being 4 days away, she could be a millionaire in just 4 days' time. WWE officials, though, seem to find her fan time material became progressively more suggestive over time. However, reports suggest that Rose was not presented with an option to tone down or remove some of what was seen as problematic, with WWE choosing just to cut ties entirely. Instead, they did not give her the option to remove or tone down her content. They found it, they made her drop the NXT Women's Championship, and they fired her the next day. Rose has not budged in her support for her fan time content, using the platform to thank her fans for their backing after being fired by WWE, saying, quote, "I am overwhelmed with all the love and support from you guys," she wrote, "and don't worry, the page is still up." Rose participated in bodybuilding and fitness competitions before joining WWE in 2015, following the 6th season of Tough Enough, where she placed second in the competition. Shifting back to NXT after several years on the main roster, she captured the NXT Women's Championship within months of her return and held the title for 413 days. She would drop the belt on the December 13 episode of NXT on the USA Network to Roxanne Perez. Her termination from the company followed the very next day, and still in what is a big story, still is what is a surprising story, frankly, when it comes to her departure from WWE. But I think at the same time, as I mentioned, the report was at the time that, again, initially it was said that she was given the option to tone down or take down the content, and she didn't want to. That's not completely accurate. She was never really given that option. So the fact she wasn't given it is one thing, but at the same time, I think even if she was given the option, she would have said no, clearly. Look at the amount of money she's made. And this goes back to when we were discussing it previously. I said Mandy Rose is going to be fine, and this is the reason why Mandy Rose is going to be fine. She got fired. In addition to whatever her non-compete clause is, she'll get paid on her WWE contract. Let's say it's for 90 days. She will get paid on her contract for the next 90 days. Let's say it's 30 days, right? NXT contracts are different. With main roster contracts, which you probably was on, that's a 90-day non-compete clause. But the way it works with WWE, if they release you, if they're terminating your contract, it's a notice that they're going to terminate your contract in 90 days. It basically means for 90 days, you're still going to get paid by the company. So let's figure this out. Let's take a step back. If she's going to get paid by WWE on her main roster salary, if it is that, for 90 days, that's a source of income. And during that period of time, she's still, with all of this heat she has coming off of WWE television, the outcry of support from the story of her termination and the perceived double standard by some when it comes to other pertaining issues in the company, she's still making all that money. She's going to make over $1 million. If she's making 500 grand in 7 days, 1 week, how much is she going to make in a month, 2 months or 3 months time? Plus her WWE pay for 90 days, Mandy Rose is going to be fine. She's going to be just fine, and there's going to be offers on the table. Are they going to pay her as much as the WWE contract did? No. If she wants to go to AEW, they they won't pay her as much as WWE. If she wants to go to Impact Wrestling, they won't pay her as much as WWE. But the point is, they don't need to. They don't need to pay her as much as WWE because WWE wasn't even her primary source of income anyway. The primary source of income was this subscription-only page. And I think, as I mentioned, if WWE had given her the option of, you know, you've got to stop doing that content, she'd have just said no. Because when you're put in a situation, especially in today's environment, if you're put in a situation where it's, you know, either stop doing this, stop doing what you're making the most money doing for less money. That makes no sense. Even if she loves pro wrestling, and I'm sure that she did. So Mandy Rose is going to be just fine, and she will get offers to wrestle if she wants to scratch that itch anyway. So it's nothing really for her to worry about. And again, as the story rumbles on, I'm sure that more people will subscribe, and she'll continue to make more money. Bronson Reed is back in WWE. He made his return to the company that he was also released from last year. And it's an interesting update, actually, when it comes to Bronson Reed and his return to WWE. Bronson Reed, also known as Jonah, of course, is back in WWE. Now, Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast reported way back in actually mid-August that WWE was interested in signing the former NXT North American champion, which was later confirmed by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select. However, according to Sean Ross Sapp, a deal wasn't signed until well after, and Bronson continued to work for New Japan Pro Wrestling until October. Now, Fightful Select is reporting that they were told that New Japan wanted to retain Reed and was hopeful he stayed. Of course, he only defeated Kazuchika Okada not that long ago. Now, Fightful had long been told that Bronson Reed was indeed a priority hire for Triple H when he gained power within WWE. They can also confirm that he has signed a contract with the company, he has signed a full-time deal, he's put pen to paper for WWE, and he is indeed done with New Japan Pro Wrestling, unless WWE brokers a deal to facilitate it, which hasn't been done yet. As far as New Japan is concerned, Bronson Reed Jonah is done with New Japan. He's exclusive to WWE. It's the same as the Good Brothers, in the sense that he's put pen to paper. Unlike the Good Brothers, they had already agreed to dates with New Japan going forward. That's why they're allowed to work that Tokyo Dome show in January. Bronson Reed will not be there. Now, the return, according to Fightful Select, was not telegraphed internally on WWE run sheets, but talent had gained word that Bronson Reed would indeed be returning to the company. Another source reportedly told Fightful just before Raw that it wasn't an accident that Bronson hadn't wrestled for the last couple of months. Reed has stayed active on social media, publicly pitching Wrestle Kingdom matches to throw the audience off his trail. Since his 2021 release, Reed has also worked with Impact Wrestling, where those on the roster told them that he was positively received and was happy to do business and put over PCO on the way out of the company. Likewise, he had put over Kazuchika Okada on his way out of New Japan after getting a huge victory over Okada in August. I've seen a lot of actually response to this, and it is, again, it's quite interesting because some people are saying, you know, you were beating Okada back in August, now you're back in WWE and you're a lackey for The Miz. Oh, that seems good. And I understand that. Yeah, I know it's a cliche phrase and people hate to hear, let it play out, let's see what happens. But that's all you can really do at this point. We're just going to have to see what happens when it comes to Bronson Reed and his return to WWE. I feel that he was perfectly tailor-made for New Japan Pro Wrestling. I always felt that was the perfect place for him. I know he had worked in Japan for All Japan prior to signing for WWE the first time around, and I just felt he was so perfect. The big menacing foreign heel was a throwback, and booked the right way as this big dominating scary heel, he could just be so great. And he was great in his brief time in New Japan, and again, I think they really wanted to keep him, but at the same time, he is located in the United States. Triple H, you know, he's got history with him, and clearly, as I mentioned, he believes that he has unfinished business. I mean, the Bronson Reed departure was quite shocking last year when it happened because of its nature of, he was the NXT North American champion. He wasn't the champion for a long time. He dropped the title to Isaiah Swerve Scott, and everyone went, well, he's going up to the main roster. He did a tryout match on WWE Main Event, and for whatever reason, Vince McMahon and that regime, that brain trust, said, we don't like him. And they took one look at him, said no, and then he never wrestled for the company again, and he got fired. So clearly he feels he wants to right that wrong. Clearly he feels that he's got unfinished business. I'm not sure if he thought that unfinished business would be being The Miz's henchman, but we'll have to wait and see indeed how it does play out. Speaking of Wrestle Kingdom, speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Sasha Banks, of course, is one of the biggest stories in pro wrestling at the moment, and her seemingly inevitable debut with New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom 17. Mercedes Varnado, also known as Sasha Banks in WWE, is reportedly expected to arrive in Japan on Wednesday, December 21st, that being today, ahead of her planned appearance at New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 17 on January 4. According to PW Insider, who was first to break the entire story of Sasha Banks signing with New Japan sources have confirmed that the veteran wrestler is currently traveling to Japan and will spend a few weeks in the country in the lead up to the promotion's biggest show of the year at the Tokyo Dome. The report added that Varnado is expected to at least make a cameo at Wrestle Kingdom 17, but did not specify if there are plans for her to wrestle or get physical in any capacity. One of the marquee matches at the event will pit IWGP Women's Champion Kairi against Stardom legend Tam Nakano. PW Insider, the outlet that broke the original story of Varnado appearing at Wrestle Kingdom 17, had previously noted that Varnado wasn't just attending the event on her own accord as a spectator, and she was being brought in by New Japan. This bit of information had left fans wondering if the recent working relationship between WWE and New Japan could have facilitated Varnado's cameo at Wrestle Kingdom 17, even as multiple reports suggested Varnado was done with WWE. It's worth noting, however, that Varnado's profile page on WWE.com has yet to be moved to the alumni section, which is the norm when a superstar is no longer with the company. However, there is a feeling that it will be moved come January 1st, which is when she can officially start taking pro wrestling bookings once again. So people getting their hopes up that it's got something to do with WWE, it really doesn't. Now, earlier this week, Varnado fueled the rumor mill by posting a gif of Ric Flair from his time as NWA World Heavyweight Champion, which several fans took as a sign of Varnado wanting to be a traveling champion, appearing in multiple promotions. There's also been chatter of Varnado possibly appearing as Soraya's partner on the January 11 episode of AEW Dynamite from Los Angeles at the Kia Forum, where the former Paige and a mystery partner will wrestle Dr. Britt Baker and the AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter in a tag team match. Again, we don't have any update on her possible status for that, so we can't really say at this period of time if she is or isn't Soraya's mystery tag team partner. What we can say for certain, she is going to be at the Tokyo Dome in January. She's not going to be wrestling, but most likely she's going to be calling out or confronting Kairi when she retains her IWGP Women's Championship, and also then the expectation is that she will challenge Kairi for that very same championship in February at a date most likely in the United States, but that's to be confirmed. Raw this week, they had the strongest ratings they've had in week, coming off the least watched first hour in the show's history last week. The December 19 edition of Monday Night Raw rebounded in a big way in the Nielsen ratings. According to WrestleNomics and ShowBuzz Daily, Monday Night Show averaged 1.705 million viewers overall across its 3 hours, with 557,000 of them being in the key adults aged 18 to 49 demographic. The latter figure was good enough for a 0.43 18 to 49 rating, up from last week's figure by a whopping 14%. Percentage-wise, the aforementioned jump in total viewers was even bigger at 16%, giving Raw its highest viewership since October 17. The key 18 to 49 demo number was the biggest since November 14. ShowBuzz Daily had Raw in 6th place in the key demo among cable originals for Monday, with only Monday Night Football and its shoulder programming doing better. Across the 3 hours of Raw, hours 1 and 2 held steady with 0.44 ratings in the key demographic across both hours. That dipped to 0.40 in hour 3, which brought in an average of 1.568 million viewers overall. Among the demographics listed by ShowBuzz Daily, the strongest one with the larger key demo was, as usual, men aged 18 to 49 with an average of 0.54 rating across the 3 hours of Raw. Overall, the best number was, as always, adults aged 50 plus, that being WWE's really the strongest audience, and actually pro wrestling's strongest audience, it must be said, with an average of a 0.89 rating across the 3 hours. Of course, Monday's episode of Raw featured heavy involvement from the Bloodline, Sami Zayn, the Usos, and Solo Sikoa. Zayn wrestled a main event match against AJ Styles. The Usos faced off against Seth freaking Rollins and Kevin Owens in the show's main event. And it must be said, they'll be very happy with that. Usually this time of the year, the ratings get absolutely destroyed because of the holiday season, because of football, because of everything. Pro wrestling just isn't important at this time of the year. So WWE will be thrilled with that. That's good numbers, and it'll be interesting to see what happens next week. Of course, we don't really know what next week's Raw is going to be. There's speculation it's going to be a best of, and if it is a best of, that's not going to be good numbers, but we'll have to wait and see WWE's plans. This is a strange story, and it's a story that is, even as someone with tattoos, I can say this is not a good idea. WWE NXT star Idris Enofe has apparently gotten a new tattoo that will be very recognizable to WWE fans. According to Enofe's Twitter account, the up-and-coming star was in the process of getting the WWE logo inked on his chest. Captioning the video of himself revealing the unfinished WWE logo on his body, Enofe wrote, quote, "New chest tat. One thing about me is I'm dedicated to this brand, WWE, now, then, forever, hashtag WWE, hashtag WWE NXT. The problem is it's actually then and now forever. That's wrong. It's the wrong way around. However, in later posts, Enofe was reluctant to show off the finished job and seemingly regretted his decision. In an interview with the USA Network, Enofe discussed the inspiration behind getting the WWE inspired tattoo, saying, quote, "Honestly, it was spur of the moment. Enofe said, I will eventually be the face of this brand, and I feel this is the best way to represent it. WWE has changed my life, and this is in my way of saying thank you by becoming an ambassador for the rest of my life. When I said I regretted it, I regretted not getting it sooner. I also plan on getting an NXT tattoo on my neck for my birthday." Now, obviously, this led to a lot of people going, that's a terrible, terrible, terrible decision. And look, if it's a way of getting people talking about you, that's one thing. It can't be real. Surely it can't. I mean, there's got to be a thing where it's not real, because, again, that's got to be just the worst idea, because not want to say this guy's not going to succeed, but that is believing in yourself to another level. We have an update on Big E. Of course, he's been out of action since suffering a broken neck on March 11. The injury occurred on SmackDown during a tag team match pitting the New Day against Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Of course, Holland threw Big E over his shoulders with an overhead suplex, a belly-to-belly suplex on the outside. He landed on his head, and he broke his C1 as a result. The former WWE champion avoided having to undergo surgery and has been rehabbing the injury ever since. Despite being away from the ring, the New Day member has been active, making appearances for WWE in the form of promoting events and scouting potential talent at tryouts. And during a recent interview with These Urban Times ahead of WWE's holiday show in Atlanta, Big E provided an update on his progress, saying, quote, "So I have to get some more scans. The 1-year mark is in March, and then we'll see how everything's looking. But we'll see from there. My C1, that's broken in 2 spots, so obviously I want to be very smart about that. I was very fortunate, so I just want to make sure I'm making the best decision." Big E noted that he feels great and is not dealing with any impairment as far as nerve or strength issues. Ultimately, he wants to make sure his C1 is rock solid so he can return to the ring at the competition that is required of WWE superstars. And of course, here's hoping that he can return to the ring, because it's awful to always see people's careers end that way. And here's hoping that's not the case when it comes to Big E. Finally, Eva Marie. Is she the latest name that is going to be returning to WWE? We've seen so many names returned, and Eva Marie seemingly is teasing she could be the next. One name who has teased the possibility of returning to the company is Eva Marie, who's had 2 separate stints with the company over the years. She reacted to Sean Ross Sapp's tweet earlier this week, which hinted at more names coming back ahead of Bronson Reed's return, which has sparked a talking point amongst fans. The Fightful journalist posted, quote, "I don't think we're done with WWE returns, and that fact that Marie liked it has got a lot of fans speculating on another name returning." Let's just, no. I'm sure she's a nice person, but no. Let's just, no. Please, no. That is a return for the sake of doing a return, and no. We'll just, no. No, thank you. So there you go, guys. That's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.